it is a metaphorical way of speaking.
Okay.
Like psychologists talk about mood contagion. If your mood is elated, you're contagious. I mean, you make everybody happy. There are people like that. They walk into a room, it's like a ray of sunshine, And if your mood is really down, and people like that, they go around like a black cloud, So your mood is contagious. And I think vibration refers to that in some ways, in a metaphorical way, for me.
Huh. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, that's.
Yeah, my wife talks about that, how she can tell the vibrations of a room. Sometimes you can. You walk into a place and somebody's pissed right off.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. It's interesting. We probably shouldn't go down that path too far. But if you step back and look at our society right now, you've been in this for a while, and it seems like to me we're polarized. We have people interested in meditation more so than ever, kind of like yoga was like 20 years ago, and then we also have this whole, like you were mentioning before, the kind of like this masculine competitive environment where people are just living in their heads the whole time. And then we have the whole pharmaceutical industry that's actually, in some ways, going against mindfulness and completely kind of numbing out our minds of, even the youth and all that. Did you ever think about that at the higher level, and you have any thoughts?
Yeah, you're hitting a very sad subject there, as you know, because there seems to be a conspiracy against mindfulness,
Yeah.
Almost in the media and all that. Recently, I came across a statistic which is unbelievable, that the media give us 17% more negative news than positive news. I knew that there was a negative bias, but 17 times, not percent, I made a mistake, 17 times.
17 or 70?
17.
Okay, 17 times though. Yeah, not a percent. So, okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah.
I mean, over here, whenever I turn on the radio, it's news about some Islamic State massacring somebody, or whatever. It's really a litany,
Yeah, it's brainwashing, really.
And trying to keep a sunny disposition, listening to the evening news is a real challenge. I think even the Buddha might have had a tough time doing it. Yeah, listen to the evening news and keep a sunny disposition.
So what do you do in your own personal life in that regard? Because I don't really watch the news myself just because of that. It's actually, and the longer you go without watching it, the crazier it seems when you do watch it.
Yeah. It's like it's been saying the same things over and over again, and you turn it on and it goes right on. Very true, very true. Well, avoid watching it. This is a big issue for Buddhists because everything nourishes your spirit in one way or another. It could nourish negative feelings in you, or it could nourish positive feelings. I mean, we all know songs, for example, that do that. That old song, "What a Wonderful World." Know that Louis Armstrong song?
Yeah.
Oh man, you can listen to it every day, once a day in the morning, and it'll make your day, And there are other songs, particularly rap songs, that are quite the opposite. I mean, and everything is the same way. There are movies that at the end of the movie you come out there feeling like 10 feet tall, and there are movies that, So the idea is to choose what you feed yourself carefully, just like you choose what you eat. Choose what you see, what you hear, what you read, and so on.
So what do you do? What do you do personally to keep on top of current events? I mean, if you even feel like you have to, because sometimes I struggle with, if I don't watch the news, Like I'll listen to, a new media podcast and stuff like that to get more of a balanced sort of view of things. But I still feel like sometimes I'm missing out on the current events. But really, when I look at it, it's kind of just distraction anyways. But what do you do to get your dose of what's going on out there?
Well, I have a couple of newspaper sites that New York Times is one of them. And there I choose what I click on, like they don't choose what to feed me. I choose what I want to eat, it's like cafeteria. It's the where you choose the plate you want to take, so that's how I get my daily dose of, and then there are positive news too, so I can click on them instead of, the negative news all the time.
Yeah. And the only way to do that is to go online, really, go to the internet and do that, because you definitely can't pick your positive news stories out of the TV, that's for sure.
No. And now I'm beginning to understand why this show, why you interviewed me at 10 o'clock, because it's like like the mood of the show is like the kind of chats you have at this hour,
Actually, yeah, well, there's more reasons than that, but it's 8 o'clock. We started 8 o'clock here, which gives us enough time to put Darren's kids to bed and stuff like that. And yeah.
Oh.
But it is, we like it casual here because it's kind of more real in a way. We don't really censor anything, and we can talk about things pretty openly.
That's great. Well,
it's sit in an office.
Yeah.
Of course, you knew it was 10 o'clock here, right?
I did. I know.
Graham's a real night owl.
I'm not a night owl.
Or is it a night hawk?
No.
Yeah.
So have you seen changes in the last 20 years then? Through, obviously, like I mentioned, meditation seems to be like yoga was last year. Have you been pretty happy with the, how it's catching on with people?
Yeah, I see people privately for meditation coaching, and I see them in 8-week courses, and I really see the difference, and they tell me the difference, and it's really wonderful to hear and wonderful to follow.
Yeah, that's good.
Is enrollment up? Are you noticing more of a demand?
Yeah, well, there has been a demand. So since I started, there always has been a demand. I mean, John Kabat-Zinn and Thich Nhat Hanh were pioneers. Their first books that really caught on, Miracle of Mindfulness for Thich Nhat Hanh and Full Catastrophe Living with John Kabat-Zinn, those books were published in the 70s. And they really caught on. And Thich Nhat Hanh's book, Miracle of Mindfulness, has been selling about 35,000 copies a month since then.
Wow.
And so has John Kabat-Zinn's books have been selling. I mean, it's not that new a phenomenon, although you're quite right in that it's sort of seems to be getting bigger and bigger, and more people are aware of it,
Yeah, and I mean, not even mindfulness specifically, but meditation in general. Like the float tank. I'm not sure if you've heard about. We have a new float tank set up here in Calgary. We're going to have the guys on, but they're kind of like sensory deprivation tanks where you get in this, body temperature salt water, and that's becoming very popular. So people are definitely interested in exploring their consciousness a little deeper.
Yeah, I haven't heard about it recently in this area, but John Lilly, the guy who wrote so much about dolphins, experimented with that, and I think he was one of the first people who put that on the map.
Yeah. I just heard about John Lilly today on the way here. Actually, that people are talking about that.
Who's John Lilly?
Well, he's the guy that started experimenting in float tanks quite a bit and writing about his experiences in there. He'd go in there for like 3 hours at a time or something like that.
Yeah.
I've only been in one time.
Yeah. So what else do we want to talk about? How about how do you pronounce your guy's name again? Thich Nhat Hanh?
Yes. Yeah. He's a person with a wonderful smile, a very engaging look on his eyes, and you really, when you see him, it's very difficult not to like him. Your heart goes out to him, and his smile is very, very precious. Like I've been to Plum Village where he lives maybe 10 times, about a month at a time. And I sort of imagine him in my mind's eye. And when I see him, his smile is always more generous and warmer than what remained in my imagination. He's really a very, very engaging person.
And that was in France, you said, right? You trained under him in France?
Yes, mostly in Plum. Well, where he lives, he calls it Plum Village, because when he first, the boat people, refugees, and he wanted to create a place where these people could come and live on the land. So he planted plum trees in that part of France. It's a big industry. Plum jam. Have you ever eaten plum jam?
No, I don't think I have, actually.
Oh,
Have you, Darren? Do you like plum jam? I'll have to try it.
oh,
I probably have had plum jam. I remember my grandma used to have all sorts of different jams and jellies and marmalades. And
I had it there for the first time, and I felt like, wow, where have I been? Anyway, so he created this thing with over 1,000 plum trees and vegetable gardens and so on, and that was how the Plum Village. In French, it's the village of plum trees. Plum Village doesn't make as much sense as a village of plum trees. So that's the origin of that term.
And how did you get into that yourself? Have you always been? Did you grow up interested in Buddhism and meditation?
No, not really. It was chance encounters, chance readings, and something sounds good, and you follow up on it, and one trail leads to somebody, and then things like that. That's how I got into it. A number of chance occurrences like that.
Yeah, we sometimes call them synchronicities. It seems like a lot of our guests have those.
Yes, that's a good way to describe it. Yes.
Would you want to talk about your meditation center in Montreal a bit and what you do there?
Yes, I started by offering open meditation evenings, like drop-in meditation evenings, and it would go on all year, and people would come in and whenever, and so on. And at some point, I realized that it is really part of this practice to make a commitment of some kind. To make a commitment. Like now, I offer like sessions where people come because they want to live with less stress, or they want to sleep better, or live with less discomfort in the case of cancer patients and so on. These people really know why they're there for, and it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference rather than sort of come because meditation is a cool thing, That's one thing. But when you really have a challenge and you're motivated to work for it, because meditation, you have to do the work. Nobody else is doing it for you. You're doing it. So it really helps if you're motivated. And so recently, my groups are focused groups. They're focus groups with specific focuses.
Mm-hmm. I guess even if somebody's going to explore it, like my type of thinking is that maybe you've planted a seed in a lot of people that, may come back later when they have more of a purpose,
Yes, I. There are for sure. There are people like that as well.